Okay, this is Donald D. Taylor coming to you with a quick update on these shed shelters. I kind of drew this up quickly, and so you guys can get out there and buy the material. Then I'll show you how it goes together. So basically, what you have, these are 2x6s. You got 4 of them, and so all together you would need, if you got 10 trusses, 10 trusses would give you a cabin that would be 12 foot long on 16-inch centers. You could place them as 24 centers or 32 centers, right? So you'd have to accommodate your purlins to adjust for that length. But anyway, the main thing that makes this work is the Gusset Assembly. So this is your 2x6s here, right? This is where they're mitered together. As long as you know this angle, the first thing you want to do is pre-make your fill. So this is a piece of 2x10. So you just draw your angle, set up your chop saw, and you cut all these out. You make sure you got your saw is sharp and that these are square, and you want your accuracy, right? Then you want to make your gusset plate out of 1/2-inch fir. Don't use OSB. And spend the money and get 1/2-inch fir plywood. So basically, your gusset starts from the bottom. So you have about 8 inches up to here. And if you're using 2x6, you would add another 8. So you would need, so you actually use your gusset, if you're cutting it out in the square, would be 24 by 16 inches high. So you'd actually get 12 of these out of a sheet of plywood, so you need 5 sheets of plywood. So what you do, you set up like a jig, and put your gusset on there. Then just scrape the bottoms and cut them out. And you might want to cut them a little bit shy, maybe a 1/4 inch shy on the outer. They would be flush here, right? And then you can set up your jigs to router the edges, trim off the edges instead of using a sander. And you can set up a jig to cut these out. You could probably do 6, because there's 6 of these per truss. So you could probably do a set of 12 at a time, right? And so your main tool of choice is going to be your chop saw and a good router. You need a heavy-duty router. So the overview on this. So for material, you will need, if you're using, this is 120-degree corners in here. I think they're same as a honeycomb, right? You will need, for material, you will need 4 per truss. 10 trusses, that's 40. 2x6s by 8. You need 5 sheets of 1/2-inch fir for your gussets here. And for your purlins you can use, which are these here. You need 13 per truss, and you could leave them at 10, but it would actually get 12 foot lengths. So you'd actually have a little bit of an overhang, right? A little bit of a cover. So you would need 13 per truss times 10. No, just 13 per truss. 13 12-footers. That accounts for your feet. So just going to put this up like this. I don't want to turn the camera. So you can enlarge this and just mark down the data. But if you got a large nail table, if you make your jigs, these can be fast tracked. You want to use glue on this here, white glue. And for nails, like these here would be nailed together. All your gussets, you can pre-make in advance, so they're all ready to go. And so you glue and nail this down, and you'd use a 2-inch galvanized, or you could actually put pound in twist nails or ring nails. But if you're going to mass produce these, you get yourself a framing gun, and you want to make your templates out of paper. And when you make your nails, you put your nails on a 2-inch on centers, right? Then you make a reverse pattern for the other side so your nails don't bump into each other, right? And yeah, that'll work. I'll show you that when I get to that point. So this would give you, when you got your trusses made, I think in the next design I would split it here, and I would split it here. Leave this as one setup. So you just lay them down, make your first truss on the ground. You would have bolts here, like that. You need 3-inch bolts, just grade 5 fender washers. And so and these are all pre-drilled. And all you do is fasten on your side walls and your roof components, right? Then once you got the first one made, it's nice to have a table that you can work from. You can set them all up, so all your trusses are set up on a table, right? And once you got the first one set up, you have to hold it in place, and you can use a rope and a pulley system to lift them up, because it's just too much work to, it's a lot easier than even having 2 people. You just drop your legs to the ground, and you pull up the peak with the roof right there. And if you got your feet, let's see if I can draw this out for you. I want to draw out the bottom part. So this is your bottom plate. What you would do, if these are your trusses like this, right, coming down, you fill this in with a 2x6 and take your leftover pieces from your gussets, and you do that, right? See, when you nail your gussets into the size of the 2x6. So you make a bunch of these, you drop them in place, then you just nail them down, and you can bolt them through here. I would bolt them because you want to take this apart, but these Gusset Assembly can stay. They can be permanent. And so at some point, what you would do, you want to make a shoe out of metal. So your bottom plate is going to be 5.5, 6.5 inches wide. So you want to form some metal like this, right? Where you make it nice. Where you could actually put a couple screws in there to lock it in place. Then you want to make up use a wheelbarrow tire. So this is your wheelbarrow tire here. And you welders out there can simply do that. You want this to spin, you want a good bearing set there. So you'd have 4 wheels on it so you can move it around. You can make it so you can take it off, right? So you could just pull these out. This can stay. So overall, you have a shed shelter. I actually have a name for it. Survival Housing Engineered Design or something like that. So your material, your plywood's going to cost you probably the most. So again, your material list is 40 2x6x8s. That's going to run you probably $250. And 13 2x4x12, so that'll probably run you $100. So all in all, less than $500 in material for these will probably go for about $1,200. That's what I was, or $1,500. That's what I was selling for. You, whatever your material is, you double it. 500 material, 500 for your labor, and 500 for profit. That's how you do that. And then you want to customize a tarp. So these can actually be made for a shelter logic tarp. So if you had a shelter logic tarp, you could actually customize the framework to fit it. And that'd probably be the smartest way to go, because all you have to do is order the tarps, or you can have the tarps custom made, right? So you would need 8, 16 times 2, 32. I would add another 4 feet for 36 feet in case you want to raise these up. So this design here will make a good shop for prefab and all this. Or if you want to extend these bigger, you can actually, say if this was longer here, you could actually make a trussed floor system that would, drop in place like this. Then you frame up your end walls, put your door in there, put your window set in there, and you're ready to go. Going to leave it here and get this uploaded. This is video 191 on these shed shelters, and this is what I want to do as a business for the remnant. This is Joshua Taylor, Donald D. Taylor, coming to you from here in my little place in Boston Bar, British Columbia, Canada.